Welcome to Black Renaissance. I'm your host, Kristen Ayers. We have so much to cover this morning. Tips for managing your money and shows and performances you won't want to miss. But first, the Latino Policy Summit is happening soon in California. It's going to be a gathering of hundreds of leaders, and it's happening at a time when so many of the headlines are dominated by issues concerning Latino Americans. Here to talk about some of those issues and the summit is Jacqueline Martinez Garcel, CEO of the Latino Community Foundation, or LCF. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Christine. Such a lovely introduction.
Absolutely, yes. And we're so happy to have you on Black Renaissance to talk about this really critical summit that you have coming up. As I said, you've got hundreds of leaders from the Latino community coming together to talk about two important events that we're going to be seeing coming up involving Latinos.
Yes. Well, the first one, as you mentioned, is next Wednesday, our Latino Policy Summit. As you said in your introduction, this is such a critical year for our nation. Next year, not only do we have a presidential election, March 3rd is the primaries in California. California has an opportunity to actually impact who the next Democratic primary candidate will be, but we also have the 2020 census. So these are two cornerstones of our democracy right now that can be decided upon. 7.7 million Latinos that are eligible to vote and 15 million Latinos that call California home right now.
And when you talk about the power of the Latino voting bloc, we saw some of that muscle flexed in these midterm elections.
One of the things that we're really excited about right now is that 2018 showed in places like Fresno 200% increase by Latinos between the ages of 18 and 24. Now that becomes really important because every 60 seconds, Latinos are turning 18 and getting eligible to vote. On an annual basis, 600,000 Latinos turn 18, become eligible to vote. Here in California, we have the largest voting bloc of Latinos. And if we can mobilize that vote and show the strength, we can really influence not just who wins in office, but what gets added to the ballot for 2020.
So talk to me about what some of the issues that will come up at this summit.
Well, obviously, the one that everyone is talking about right now is immigration. This is something that there's so much anti-immigrant, anti-Latino rhetoric happening in our nation. And this is an issue that our community obviously cares about. But what we hope to see happen here is with our new administration, with Gavin Newsom, with the supermajority, which, by the way, includes a large number of Latinas, right? We have a little over 30% that are now represented in the Congress, and they have an opportunity to really be a progressive movement for our country, right? Let's set the tone for 2020. Let's put not just protections on the table, but let's go on the offensive of really lifting up immigrant communities here and making sure that they are being seen and heard. On the listening to the census also is such an important issue that we're going to be discussing. So there's over $800 billion on the table for California alone over 10 years for the census. Now, if Latinos get accurately counted, California would get its fair share. And so that's going to be a critical topic that we discuss with Governor Newsom's new administration, with our community partners. And for our community, they are ready, right? This census for us is also an opportunity to declare that we're here to stay. With the citizenship question on the table, folks are understanding that there is an intention here to try and put fear, right, in people's mind and heart not to fill out the census. But the community is ready to stand and stand out strong. And we like to say, to resist, you must exist. Right? And there's a sense that this census is about being counted and about being seen and heard for the country.
Absolutely. Something that's never been more important, especially for the Latino community.
Yeah, and for the nation. If you look at the last two censuses, we're going through a seismic demographic shift in our country, right? We're changing into a black and brown country. And this census is going to show those numbers at a much faster and higher pace than we have seen the last two censuses. And that's why it's so important. And, you know, we also have to begin to understand that the census is not just about money, but it's also about power. It's about representation for the state of California. And right after the census, redistricting happens, right? And that is going to be one of the most important things that we talk about at the beginning of 2020. So this summit is about convening over 400 leaders from across California, a lot of them from the Central Valley, Inland Empire. There's a lot of economic growth and development happening. A lot of it being led by Latino organizations and Latino businesses, Latina-owned businesses. And we want California to just honor that history, honor the fact that Latinos have been here for decades, centuries, and that the economy of California has depended on a strong workforce that is predominantly Latino.
Okay, no better time than now to
Right.
get that organizing going
That's right.
and get people
That's
paying
right.
attention
Especially
here.
with young people at the helm.
Absolutely.
We're seeing a civic awakening in our country right now, led by youth, and we want to be able to fan the flames of that civic awakening right now in our country.
Hey, now is the time.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your hard work and for letting us know about this super important event, Jacqueline. The 2020 census, very important. You don't want to get undercounted. And remember, the Latino Policy Summit happening April 24th in Sacramento. For more information, you can go to latinocf.org/summit.